The transition into the end of times is marked by an apocalyptic mobilization. As the Mahdi emerges, the Western world unites to form a military force of staggering proportions, marching east for the ultimate confrontation. Ancient texts describe the Romans gathering at Tarsus under 100 crosses. With 10,000 soldiers positioned under each cross, the Mahdi is immediately faced with an invading force of 1 million men. To counter this massive threat, the Mahdi commands the construction of a fleet of 400 ships, built here along the Mediterranean coast of Acre. The two forces eventually collide at the Euphrates. The fighting is so brutal and the casualties so high that the texts prophesize the waters of the river itself will run thick with Roman blood. Shattered by the encounter, the surviving Romans break rank and flee to Antioch. The Mahdi pursues them, ultimately securing a truce, demanding the jizya tax and forcing the complete extraction of every Muslim captive held in Roman lands. Defeating a 1,000,000-man army in the open field establishes the Mahdi as a divinely backed force, breaking the military hegemony of the Roman world and clearing the path toward their western capitals. The Mahdi stays in Antioch for a year. Once the truce expires, he resumes his march toward the eastern Roman capital, the city built by and named after Emperor Constantine. Upon arriving, the Muslim army bypasses traditional siege warfare entirely. They stand before the impregnable walls and recite the Takbeer. The texts state that at the sound of their voices, the sea gulf dries up, and the massive fortifications simply collapse to the ground. This visualization breaks down the massive extraction of wealth following the breach. After 300,000 fighters are killed, the victors divide the spoils, easing sieves, extracting a hoard of gold, a mountain of silver, and 70,000 captives from the house of the court. While dividing the wealth, panic suddenly erupts. A crier shouts that the Dajjal, the Antichrist, has attacked their families back home. The troops scramble, only for the news to be exposed as a false alarm. The fall of Constantinople proves that in the end times, conventional weapons are obsolete. Faith, channeled through the spoken word, is enough to shatter stone and rewrite empires. With the east secured, the Mahdi looks west. The order is given to deploy the 400 ships waiting at Acre. God calms the wind for the fleet, turning a treacherous crossing into a 2-day voyage to the Italian coast. The forces arrive at the western gates of Rome, treating the mighty capital with utter casualness. The soldiers simply dismount and hang their saddles on a tree resting against the city wall. Recognizing the siege, the Romans send out a great monk armed with ancient texts. He studies the Mahdi, confirming that his physical description perfectly matches their own prophecies. He begs the Mahdi to turn back, but the request is refused. The Mahdi declares the Shahada. The Muslim forces recite 3 Takbeers. Instantly, the ancient walls of Rome violently scatter into dust, bursting outward like seeds from a pomegranate. This chart compares the destruction of Rome against the fall of Constantinople. Inside Rome, 500,000 fighters fall. The wealth extracted is so vast that every single soldier receives a payout of 100,000 dinars. The fall of Rome marks the completion of the Mahdi's western campaign. With the city's defenses shattered and its wealth distributed, the Western powers have reached the point of total submission. How was this mapped out centuries ago? The answer lies in Imam Ali's ancient texts. He warned of a mobilization by the Turks, describing warriors with faces like hammered shields, leading horses into a battle so severe, survivors are outnumbered by captives. When his followers asked if he possessed divine knowledge of the unseen, Ali clarified that this precise foresight was taught to him directly by the Prophet Muhammad. This map tracks the prophesied seismic activity recorded in Al-Jafr. The texts correlate widespread societal corruption and a rebellion against the Book of God directly with a series of catastrophic earthquakes, specifically clustered in the eastern region of Turkey. This combination of divine geological chastisement and massive military mobilization is the catalyst required to force the Mahdi to reveal himself to the world. Before marching on Rome or Constantinople, the Mahdi's first act of war addresses this regional chaos. He ties his first military banner and sends it to defeat a specific faction of these mobilized Turks. This schematic details the brutal three-way conflict at Al-Azraq that precedes him. The black banner of the Turks collides with the yellow banner of the Berbers and the Sufyani forces. 60,000 die in the slaughter, ending in total victory for the Sufyani. Watching this future timeline unfold, Imam Ali left a final, poetic warning for his son Hussein. When the Turks boil, wait for the wilaya of a Mahdi. As the region tears itself apart, the Mahdi finally emerges in Mecca, wearing two worn garments. The texts state that the angels in the heavens tremble at his arrival. At that exact moment, the archangel Gabriel descends upon the rock of Jerusalem. He issues a cry echoing to everyone on earth, "Truth has come and falsehood has perished." The Mahdi's prophesied campaign concludes as an absolute, final cleansing of the earth from all oppression.